we were all sitting here talking, we're out to dinner and we're sitting here having a conversation about, we're in a weird spot in our market right now. In the end of 2023, going into 2024, there's more new car availability. The used car market is getting just a little bit softer. Prices are going down a little bit. Customers are submitting more leads on new cars because there's some incentives now. We haven't seen incentives in a long time. And for managers that are listening to this, we have to get out of the COVID mindset. And you might not even know that you're in a COVID mindset because you've been doing it for years and it's just routine. Stuff like, sorry, the vehicle sold. When have we ever started doing that before COVID? No, we never did that.
Yeah, there was a conveyor belt of people that just came in.
Came in.
If Bob came in to buy a car and he didn't want it, John was right behind him ready to take it home. And we didn't have to sell.
We used to use it as a closing tactic. With the car that you came in to look at today that you wanted to think about is the same car someone came in yesterday and will buy today.
Yeah.
We used to say that before COVID. And we've forgotten that. We really have. And the last part I'll make on this is we're speaking to customers in a very, once again, COVID mindset. And as a manager, if you don't know what we're saying to the customers and you're not inspecting it by looking at your contact percentage, your appointment percentage, those are clear indicators of something to go to. Do I have the right information? And then what am I saying to the customer? And Mario made a great point as well, and I just want to expand on that. Also, the third pillar is be-backs. Like, what are we doing to get them back in? You talked about virtual TO, which I think is absolutely brilliant, by the way, which not a lot of dealerships utilize. When that customer does come in and they don't buy, what are we doing with that customer?
Sure.
I ask the dealers this all the time, and they all say no, and they all laugh at me. And I go, would you trust with your monthly salary that salesperson's calling all your customers that came in that didn't buy properly? And they all laugh and they say, no, I wouldn't bet my monthly. Then it's your job to come up with some way to change that culture as a manager.
Sure. Have you guys ever challenged your dealers, your managers, to actually listen, walk the floor, listen to what the customer's saying, listen to what your salespeople are saying to the customer? It's wild, some of the answers you get, right? Like, we start with that conversation. It's like, oh, they don't have inventory, or we don't have the inventory. The interest rate is too high, or whatever the case is. And sometimes it really is just some of those like wild, off the wall things that they're saying to the customer. Like, yeah, I don't know about that. I'm off on Fridays, and like, I don't know if I really.
You come in a different day.
Can you come in Tuesday? Yeah,
right.
Right.
It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Angie, to your point, a lot of stores have a bunch of salespeople that have only ever sold cars during the pandemic.
Right.
All they knew how to say was, "Let me know if you change your mind," because we didn't have to worry about following up with the customer because another customer was going to be in that day to buy that one truck we had.
5,000 over sticker at the time, right?
The words, or the strategies on figuring out, as someone, once said, like, the only objection we can't overcome as a salesperson is one we don't know about or that's irrational, right? Like, I don't buy cars when it's the odd day of the month or something strange.
It's a full moon.
What if I did the paperwork for tomorrow? You can take it home tonight. I won't tell anybody. But managers need to be involved in those conversations, because if we don't draw out the fact of what's going on, we can't fix it, right?
Right.
I understand you told Johnny you wanted to go home and think about it. What of these figures is it that you're thinking about? Is it the price? So let me just ask you a question. If the price is right and the trade value is right and the payment was right and the car was right, what would you need to be thinking about?
Right.
Right? The salesperson that grew up in COVID doesn't ask those questions.
No.
So until they're up to speed and know how to work a deal and overcome objections, it's crucial that managers are involved.
Right.
I know the managers have a lot to do every day. We've all been managers before, we get it. And the good news is we have some customer reports coming up in later segments that make it a little bit easier for you to figure out where you need to focus your energy on. But this is a great report that allows you to see where you're at, where you have been, and ultimately make sure that you're pacing to meet your goal.